Our topic today is trusting spiritual messages for real-world transformation. Anne Pryor, MA, is a soul painter and the creator of Lovitude. She was inspired through after-death communications with her friend to create vivid images to activate souls. She's created more than 2,500 soul paintings using ink, her breath, and essential oils on plastic. Anne wasn't an artist before these messages, and these paintings have been called visual blessings, and some are hanging at the Mayo Clinic. And here's a fun fact. Anne worked with Charles Schulz on the grand opening at Knott's Camp Snoopy, and he's one of her guides. Risё Severson Kasmirski, also MA, is the author of When Paradise Speaks. She's a mystic and the founder of Right Path Careers, an executive career and life coaching firm. Before founding her company, she worked in the corporate world in executive sales, marketing, and training, and they're both with us today. Anne and Risё, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
It's our pleasure to be here, Lisa. Thank you.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to our session. But before I start asking questions, I would love it if one or both of you would explain what you intend to do while we talk.
So, Lisa, for our audience today, I will be doing a soul painting. I will be gaining inspiration from the other side. And so I'll be sharing that soul painting in just a few minutes. It takes about 6 minutes to do this soul painting. There's one behind me that's called Beyond the Veil. And so it will be a fun experience for us and our viewers.
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to seeing the finished product. This is exciting. Well, so let's go ahead and let's start at the beginning because that's the very best place to start. Tell me about how you got the messages to, I mentioned earlier that you got communication from a friend. So let's talk about how that all began.
So I will just show you this just published book, When Paradise Speaks, a remarkable true story of friendship, after-death communication, and art that heals. So the story begins, Anne and I have been business partners and friends for a long, long time. And we worked with a colleague named Irene. We were all friends. And Irene was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer suddenly. She was feeling healthy, she was diagnosed, and then passed away within 3 weeks. This happened 5 years ago. And she, in the process of going through that, because we were friends, were with her as much as we could when she was in the hospital and when she was in hospice. And maybe you'd like to share what you asked her when she was in hospice.
So when we visited Irene, I would ask her to please come back and tell me what it's like on the other side. I wanted to know the colors, what she's doing. And I asked her 3 times. And so when she passed,
even though you're ready for the process, you're not really. And so the first time I saw her, I was giving her eulogy. And so I was standing at the front of the congregation and I could just see her over to the right, looking healthy and vibrant, the way we look across the veil, with her white turtleneck sweater on, beaming over the audience, watching everybody's interaction. And so for the first 3 months, I felt like she was around me all the time. She didn't say anything, but she was right there. She rode around in cars with me. I talked to her, sometimes out loud. And I would look across the crowd and I'd always see her standing there. And so at the time that was happening, I couldn't share that with very many people, especially her family members who I was close with. So I started exploring, inside myself to figure out why I was getting these visualizations. And I started a 1-year intense meditation program that required me to record every day what was happening in meditations. So after 3 months, she showed up in her first lucid dream, a visitation dream. And if you've had those kinds of dreams, you'll remember for the rest of your life what happened. And in a visitation dream, you can hug somebody and feel their warm body, or you can look them directly in the eyes and communicate with them. So I continued to write throughout the first year. And then a year later, I had 4 book journals filled, and I thought maybe I should write this as a book, but maybe I'm still making it up. So I decided a year after she died to talk to a medium. And so I connected with the woman that Ann and I had both known of. And my friend Irene came through for the whole hour and gave me messages that could never have been made up.
Mhm.
They were true, accurate measure readings. So I called Ann instantly and I said, oh my gosh, look at what happened in this reading. And Ann said, I think I want to call that woman too, to see if I can connect with my aunt that died. And when she called the medium and they got on the phone together, the medium said, this has never happened, but there's a woman here to talk to you who was just here 3 weeks ago to talk to somebody else. So Ann, tell a little bit about what happened in that reading.
So when I received the reading, Irene came through and she said to me to drip ink on plastic and blow it. Okay. And I thought, this is nuts. I'm not an artist. I've never done this. But when Irene and I worked together, she would bring me muffins on Wednesdays and I would make just little itty bitty thank you notes out of, pencil, color pencil. She told me to paint on big pieces of plastic. So I ruminated about that for a while.
For 3 months.
For 3 months. She also told me to bring Lovitude to life. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm holding up this symbol that Risё has around her neck, and I also have around my neck. And it means love and gratitude inspired by spirit. And I really have come to understand that we all come in with a symbol. We all come in with gifts. And so I know that that is mine. It's a very interesting story about how it came to be. She told me to bring Lovitude back to life. And so Risё and I went to Costa Rica on a yoga retreat at Blue Spirit.
And we're not good at yoga.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that.
yeah. But during that time, I germinated on what it is that message was. And when we came back on March 30th on my phone, I got a message that said new life opportunity. Now, I'm just telling you that because in after death communication, we know that there's different kinds of signs, symbols that we receive. And that's a technology kind of a symbol that Irene placed on my phone. I erased it. It came back. I called Risё and I said, are we going to a conference on new life opportunity?
Yeah.
She said, no, it came back again. And that's the day I began to paint. And I understood what she meant. Risё has also had text message from Irene in technology after death communications as well. So
Ann starts painting, and tell them what happened when you try to use your breath.
oh yeah. So I took her literally and I dripped ink on plastic and I actually blew with my breath and I about passed out. And so now I realize that I'm going to use a straw. So I had a special crystal straw. This is called the Tree of Life crystal, made in Sedona, Arizona, for me that I blow through, which I'm going to do in just a moment. So we'll stop for a minute and take a breath here so you can ask a question.
There's so many different directions we could go in, but I want to ask a little bit more about Lovitude, this symbol that you're both wearing. You explained what it means, but what is it that you've done with this symbol?
Mm-hmm. So the symbol came to me when I was writing my master's thesis, sitting in the desert in Palm Springs. And I was meditating, and our friends probably know what a Buddha board is. It's like sort of an etch-a-sketch. You take a paintbrush and some water and you paint on it. And I doodle at that time. And this symbol, love and gratitude, did not go away when I doodled it. So I wrote it on a napkin. And at that time, I was studying with Dr. Emoto. He was in What the Bleep Do You Know? And he wrote The Miracles of Water. So he would come to Minneapolis and we would visit together. And he taught at St. Kate's. And this symbol then was translated from the napkin by Janelle Russell. She created the mother and child pendant. Most of you are familiar with that. She's my friend. She's since passed. But she jeweled that for me, and I began giving those symbols away to my college professors in gratitude for what they had taught me as my sages. And then I let that go in 2006 after graduation. And now Irene is telling me to bring it back. So the brand of these soul paintings are called Lovitude, meaning love and gratitude inspired by spirit. And now the products are all over the world. I just created a line of cards in Switzerland by ABC Cards that are now throughout Europe. So the resonance is, well, tell them a little bit about what Echo Bodine says about the resonance in the colors.
So a couple of things. The love and gratitude, those are the highest levels, energetic levels. So the symbol is resonates at a high level. Echo Bodine is a renowned psychic and medium. She's published many books, and she also had an after-death communication or a near-death experience. And in that experience, she went to the other side, and she said the colors that Anne paints with, which Irene said need to be peacock colors. She says those are the colors of heaven. And now tell her about the healing essence of the color.
So, Lisa, sometimes people resonate with the blues or the purples or the oranges or the reds. And what happens, Echo said, is that the souls that are lined up to breathe through me, Irene also said that, are replacing pain with love. And they're activating people to remember their highest good and their purpose. So these bold and bright colors are very intense when you see them in person. And so those are the messages that we're receiving.
And then, so once Anne started painting on March 30th, which the irony is she has a very busy schedule, but nobody would schedule sessions with her that day. So the calendar was open. She began painting. And in the meantime, I continued journaling with Irene. And Irene would say, tell Anne, infuse the gold. It's in the signature. Tell Anne to add this, add that. Tell Anne to paint in blues for the men. And so it just kind of went on like that. It's like there's a triangle of us working this through. So when Anne paints, which she's going to do in a minute, she is focused, and what she's picking up is the energy of the audience that's listening right now. And she picks up what they need, or maybe there's a better way you would describe what you're picking up.
I don't know what I'm picking up, guys. You know, that sometimes I'm just picking up the energy from the colors that are, that the souls want to attract certain people.
Thanks for listening. Check out Castle Gate, a novel based on my own ancestral healing journey, at lisabonis.com. In 1921, 4 men set off from Scotland to the United States. Will Garrock, his brother Pete, his son Willie, and his nephew Thomas, all coal miners. They left behind the miners' rows and the nationwide mining strike with its soup kitchens. Their destination was Castlegate, Utah, where they had kin to welcome them before sending for their wives and children. They prospered in America, working in one of the finest mines in Utah. Until that tragic day, March 8th, 1924. Disaster struck. 3 explosions, trapping 171 men inside. Rescue crews worked tirelessly for days, but sadly, they could not save a soul. Women were widowed and children were orphaned, and some never recovered from their broken hearts. Castlegate is the true and tragic saga of a Scottish family whose dreams of finding their fortunes in the bountiful coal mines of Castlegate, Utah during the Prohibition era explode in one of the most devastating mine disasters in American history. Learn more at lisabonis.com.